What did you want to be?
It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
You should be the hero in your own story. You should see yourself conquering, the dramatic action of whatever you're trying to do.
I'm your host, Tinum Tapati, and welcome to the SOS Podcast.
EJ.
Yes, sir.
Show, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me, man. It means a ton. How you doing?
I'm doing good, just hanging out. I'm glad to be on your show, finally.
Man, you've been the biggest supporter of the show. Even before it came out, you definitely had to be on the show. So it was only a matter of time, bro.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I know you're going to do big things. I know this thing is going to go viral, and I know you're going to be a star, and I know this thing is going to blow up. So I'm just happy to be on here and just hope more blessings come your way.
Right back at you, man, and thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's really good to hear that. So we are here to discuss the movie Black Panther, Black culture, and what it meant to us as Black folk across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to jump right into it, and I want to ask, because, what did the movie mean to you? Why was it so significant? Because I enjoyed it. I loved it. People back home, back in Zim, basically, people in Africa enjoyed the movie. But why was it so special to you as an African American?
For me as an African American, watching it for the first time, it captivated me from the first opening scene. For them playing basketball, right outside, and it related with me so well, man. Like, we grew up playing basketball like that, and listening to music. You had the Too Short playing in the background.
And I can't wait to see one day.
Man, yes. And so, watching the movie, I just, you get to see both sides of, the culture, and I think that, being, African like yourself, it shows that proud tradition. And then you get to see the other side, of African Americans. You get to see the culture. You get to see, the systemic things that have happened throughout the movie. And so for us, it was just like, man, it's like a bridge that formed. And, we've had conversations before about this, but I do feel deeply that this movie has bridged the gap to where it makes, more African Americans like myself want to go visit Africa and want to, build relationships and want to, thrive. So that's how I really love the movie, man.
Man, that is so beautiful. And I actually want to go back to something that you just said. You mentioned building bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny you say that because there's this one quote that I remember from the movie. And T'Challa is saying that in times of crisis, the wise build bridges while the foolish build barriers.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just so on point.
Yeah.
And so the movie in general just made you want to visit the motherland. So you've never been there yet.
Never been there yet, but building a relationship with you, my buddy Johnsy, and talking with your dad, it's a must. It's not even a question. I've had dreams and aspirations of going, but it only takes you so far. But getting to meet people and getting to see how real and how funny and awesome the people are, you just want to go. And I know for me that it's a priority now.
That is incredible, man. And we've become your bridge. We've become each other's bridges. If you ever want to come and visit Africa, your first stop is Zimbabwe.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes,
and
sir.
People, I forgot to introduce the star of the show, Baby Anaya. I forgot to also mention that EJ is a new father, a recent father, man. Just tell the people about fatherhood, because I'm just so excited.
Oh, man, to be honest, fatherhood is the best thing that I've ever done. Having a baby girl challenge you in ways that you wouldn't expect. I have literally cried at more Disney movies. And seeing her walk for the first time, I shed tears. And having daddy duties and pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do. it really helps you, you know. So yeah.
Mm, yeah. You think at a point in your life you know it all, but once you have a baby, it's like, oh, I don't know nothing. I'm literally learning everything again.
Yeah. I remember the first night we brought her home.
Mm.
We just stayed up and watched her breathe the whole night because we were so dang nervous.
I was like, don't drop the ball, EJ. And your wife was like,
Right.
don't drop the ball. We got to stay awake.
Yeah, it was like that for the first night, and after that, we took turns, and I would stay up, even though she told me to sleep. I would still stay up and make sure she was doing good. So
Mm.
it's the best thing I've ever done.
That's amazing. You also said something about that. I haven't had, like, a baby girl has challenged me in ways that I never thought I would be challenged.
Mhm.
And it reminds me of this meme that I saw. But there was one buff dude, right? This guy was
Uh
clanging and banging in the gym, and he was like, "The woman who can command me has not been born yet." You know?
huh.
And then at the bottom half of the meme, the dude is on his knees in a little fairy outfit with his baby girl.
Yep.
Doing her bidding. Like, that is
Yep.
so accurate.
It is like that, man. If my daughter hands me a toy phone, I'm gonna pick it up. If she wants to jump in my lap, take my last bite of food, that's what's gonna happen.
She wants a tea party, you gotta be there.
Yes, man. Yes,
If she wants to introduce you
exactly.
to her imaginary friends, you gotta say hi to all of them.
All of them, give them dap, say what's up. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Anyway, so back to the whole Black Panther thing. So now the dream of visiting the motherland is now more realistic because, like you said, we've started building bridges because of our relationship. That the dream is now more attainable. So, is there like a deadline? Is there a specific time when you want to be there by? Why do you want to go there?
To be honest, as a kid, like I told you previously, as a kid,
Mhm.
I've always wanted to go and just visit and touch, base and plant my feet on the soil. Being an American, like I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, but I live in Oregon, and every time I fly, every time I get on a plane and touch my feet back home in Dallas, it feels like I've been planted and it feels so good. And I can only imagine once you touch your feet down in Africa in a place that you want to go, like Zimbabwe or, just any other place there to visit all the sites, to meet up with the people, to try the food, to feel planted. That to me is the most important thing.
Man, and I can guarantee you right here, right now, that you're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Man, Africa is so warm. They're just gonna welcome you. They're just gonna, our brother, you've returned.
Yeah.
And so you've always felt this way. It wasn't
Yeah.
because of the movie. You've always felt this way.
Always felt this way since I was a little kid.
Ah, that's great, man. So
Yeah.
we just can't wait to host you.
Yeah, no, I can't wait, man. I know it's gonna be fun, and me having a faith background, like I just something about it just want to make me travel, want to make me go experience new things. Like I love being here in the U.S., but I know it's a piece of me missing. So until I experience that, there's always gonna be that piece missing.
Talking about missing pieces, do you ever feel, because we had this conversation previously, but for the sake of the podcast and the listeners, do you ever feel like you don't have part of your identity because of slavery?
I feel like
Like,
there's a big piece missing because of that. And to say that I'm not ashamed of it, but
mhm,
there is a big piece missing. Like I know that my dad has Ethiopian on his side,
mhm.
and to not know anything about the culture other than a couple years ago because I actually looked into it, it makes me feel sad. Like it's certain things about yourself that you wanna go back to your ancestral plane and feel and experience the culture. And yeah, there's a big piece missing in all of us, and I think that for the longest time there was a fear of going back because you didn't know how you were going to be treated. You
Mm,
know,
yeah.
so,
So true. So would you say that most African Americans share your sentiment about not knowing how you're going to be accepted once you go back to the motherland?
I honestly, I just take my experience for myself. I've heard others say the same thing, but I wouldn't say everyone. I know some people are at peace with that, and that's awesome for them. But I know the majority of people I've talked to said that they want to reconnect, but they just don't know where the starting point is.
Mm,
You know, even if they look up their ancestry, you know, if they go back to a certain part of, you know, Africa, it just, you know, we've been disconnected for so long that if we actually were to go and try to reconnect, we feel like we'll be judged. You know what I mean? Like it's because that's how our culture is here.
okay. I think, like my old man said last time, that once you go there, you're humble, you show genuine interest in the culture back home. People
Right.
will accept you. And talking about acceptance, I want to bring this back to the movie. We had T'Challa, the African king. Then we had Killmonger, his African American cousin,
Right.
and the they had a really tense relationship. You know, there was something going on there.
Hmm.
And would you say that you relate to Killmonger the most? Because I'm sure some part of the movie he felt like he wasn't accepted because his father told him about this amazing place in Africa that he never got to visit. He was denied access. So do you feel like you feel the same way when you watch Killmonger in the movie?
I, I say I relate to his character a lot. Um, I relate to his character in the sense of, you know, he was left to fend for his own, you know what I mean? And then with all this stuff, you know, watching the movie, you see he grew up in a time where there was just, you know, mass incarceration. There was drugs flooding in neighborhoods. You know what I mean? He was a little kid, and his dad was, you know, expressing that, and that's what radicalized him. And then you see the final product, you know, and with Killmonger, you see the rage, the anger, but you know, you also see when he gets there after he becomes king, you know, it seemed like he was starting to find a little peace, but he was still enraged by what had happened throughout all those years. And so for me, I see his part as, you know, a lot of African Americans growing up, like, damn, like if we had a better place, if you know, if we did this or if we did that, and you see
Mm,
the, you know, the final outcome with Killmonger and what he did. But it, it's it's such an amazing movie because it bridges the gap on a lot of things. You
mm.
know, it helps a lot of African culture to see what's going on in America, and it helps a lot of Americans to see like what potentially could happen in Africa. You know.
That's so true. That's so true. That's interesting. Because I kind of felt the same way, but I never really paid attention to Killmonger's. Um, well, I could never really relate to him. I related
Right.
more to T'Challa. Up
Right.
until you brought it up the last time we had this conversation, and now that a lot of African Americans relate to him because of the similarities you guys share. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a relatable character.
No, and to say that, you know, T'Challa's character wasn't important, that was a big thing as well, you know? Like it a lot of people relate to both characters, you know. I can only speak for myself,
Hmm.
but
For
there's a
sure.
lot of Americans that do relate to T'Challa, and like, man, you should have seen the people going to the movie theater dressed up in
African
costume,
attire and
man.
stuff.
Dude, like people were so proud here because, you know what I mean, like you actually get a character that's displayed rightfully, you know, and
Mm,
truthfully, and like it made us proud over here. But also we felt the same about Killmonger because I mean, you know, you grew up in Oakland, and they actually portrayed Oakland the way it was, and the music and the people and our culture and sports. Like, man, I think it just related in so many ways, you
mm.
know, that people can actually see. But like deep down on the inside, for me, I was like, man, like Killmonger's character um kind of got a bad rap, but I didn't look at him like the bad guy at all, you know.
Mm. There are actually no villains in that movie because I think Chadwick also said that they're actually two sides of the same coin.
Hmm.
Killmonger is, his cousin, but they again, I think by virtue of those two having the relationship, it bridges the gap.
Yeah.
He was just enraged about. He was enraged with what happened with slavery and the fact that Wakanda kept all its resources to itself.
Yeah.
But we know in reality that's not always the case.
Right.
The fact that there's no special mineral well, there are minerals in Africa. There are a ton actually. Africa is a rich land, but we don't have vibranium because that one is fictitious, right?
Right.
So, is it rage that most African Americans have? What if, say, Africa did tell the world that, hey, we got something, but we're not sharing with you. And then if you're African American, you go to Africa, then you finally discover, like, what? The media hasn't been telling us this. Africa hasn't said anything about this. How would you feel? Would you respond the same?
No, I wouldn't respond the same. Like you said, that's a a movie, and I think that we would be happy. We would be proud. I think there would be more folks that want to come travel and come visit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Regardless if such and such, if this mineral actually existed or not, it doesn't because it was in a cartoon and in a movie. But, if something were to happen where, there was kind of thing, I think we'll be proud. I'm just speaking on the fact that, yeah, they were cousins, but think if your cousin was a prince and, somebody murdered your father and you're stuck alone in an orphanage and all this other stuff and you didn't get to go home and you had the key to get in. That right there would alone enrage you because it's like this should never have happened in the first place.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. And you also said something about representation, the fact that the culture was positively depicted on the big screen.
Yeah.
People went up to the cinemas in African attire, Killmonger costumes, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, is representation a big thing? Because I've had this conversation with people who don't really relate with the movie. When I say representation in the Black community, African community, African American is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a big thing, or are we just
it is
this thing out of proportion?
No, it is. I think for the last couple of years, it's been a really big part. Of the last 10 years or so. If we got roles, it would be drug dealers and all this other crap. You know what I mean? But to have somebody as a king who actually, you know what I mean? Like you look at Chadwick Boseman, how he played this role, like you felt like he was a real king. Like you was like, oh, like hold on, man,
That's my
dude is a real king. Like yeah. And so like the way he played that role made you believe. Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan played that role. Like it made you believe, and I think that it showed, the actors in an amazing light. And so I think that representation is a big thing. You see people's, of all races, just not just for Black culture, but for all races. You got, Hispanic people. You got people of all races that are great actors, but they never get chances. So just to see, African Americans get put in an amazing situation and act their asses off in front of the world, like you said, it was well received by the world, pretty much. So that's an amazing thing.
It is. I was working at this actually American camp in Gdansk in 2019. Damn, it's already 2021. And like I told my old man this, I told John C. that I was the first Black counselor, and these kids were going nuts. They were excited. I didn't even have to bring up Black Panther. They brought it up, and that to see them so excited about it just further cemented for me the fact that representation is a major thing, because they're like, oh, is this Wakanda real? What is Africa like? They were asking all these questions even before I opened my mouth. Like I remember one kid's like, "Oh, Mr. Tino, are you from America?" I'm like, "No, I'm African." "No, that is so cool. No, tell tell me about Wakanda, tell me about languages, and it was just so beautiful to see, dude. It was so popular that we started a Wakanda club at the freaking camp.
Wow.
And
Wow.
these kids, Polish kids, white kids, they were like, Wakanda forever. Every time they saw me, Wakanda forever, my king.
Yeah.
And man, I've got artwork. I've got a mask that this little girl, one of my favorite campers, made me. I'll post pictures when I drop this episode. Mr. Tino, the Black Panther, like they really love the movie.
Yeah.
And what I actually wanted to mention and talk a bit about is, again, we both agree that representation is a big thing, but there are people who still kind of pig-headed about it. They're still like, you guys just worry too much. You're complaining too much. It's just a movie. You guys should chill. But there's this body of research that I came across. It's a body of research and a term known as symbolic annihilation, which is the idea that if you don't see people like you in the media you consume, you must somehow be unimportant. So it's a body of research, it's a term, it's an actual thing. That's why pictures, videos have gone viral where kids, celebrities have said that it was nice to see somebody like me, somebody like us, positively depicted on the big screen.
Right.
So it's a thing. For those of y'all listening, go look it up. I'll link it. Like symbolic annihilation is an actual thing, and it's definitely important, man. Man, next topic. We wouldn't be doing justice this episode if we didn't talk about the Wakanda salute.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did that mean to you? Because I mean, we used to have the nod. And the nod, like I thought the nod was something that I saw in movies, something American. But then when I traveled, I just realized that it's a super black thing. I came here to Poland, there's always like a hand. Like I had this conversation.
Right.
I saw a dude across the road, and we didn't even exchange words. But the biggest conversation we had was the nod, and that was it. It's crazy,
it's
man.
Real.
Like, it was
it's real.
I see you, brother. And you go on about your day, just that silent acknowledgement. But now there's the Wakanda salute. So is it the same? Which one do you like more? Like,
Oh no, like I think I love the Wakanda, but like just getting that head nod when you the only two people of color in a room, you know what I mean? Y'all could be far across the room and y'all see each other and you
it's like, I see you.
You're like, oh, what's up? Head nod. Like, oh, okay. You can sigh a little bit because it's like anybody who goes into the room and they're the minority, it don't matter what color you are. You look for the person that look like you, and then it's like for us. We do that, most
Facts,
people,
bro.
They'll go up and shake hands, but for us, we need to know where we at. Like,
are we cool first? Give me the nod. Okay, we're cool. Then I'm gonna approach you.
Yep.
That is crazy. So that versus the Wakanda salute, it was also something big.
Yeah, the Wakanda salute, you put that into a handshake, and it's amazing. You know what I mean? What it could do.
Yeah, man, it's become even like a celebration for most athletes. I was watching this. Like, I'm not big on football, but I think if I say football in America, that's a different thing. I'm talking about soccer.
Yeah,
soccer players. This one, I think a handful scored a goal and then kind of flashed the Wakanda salute.
Yeah, it was important enough that they put it in the FIFA video game. So I mean.
Oh,
that right there should tell you,
They put it
yeah. So I mean, I think a big part about this whole thing is just it goes to show that black is beautiful. Like we need to love each other. We need to embrace each other. I know we have differences, but if we can come together and love on one another, I've never met. And I'm trying to put this right. I never met a more loving people, and I'm not trying to be racist against anybody else, but like you go to a black mama house and they don't know you, they gonna cook you a plate. Oh, this your such and such, this your friend, let me cook you a plate, baby.
Sit down.
Right, and it's not to knock on other cultures, but like I know the hospitality, and meeting other people, like they're nice and friendly, but I can go to, one of my friends' house and my mama gonna cook me a plate, make sure I'm full. And I think that we get a bad rap because what, portrays in the media. And I believe that it's a bunch of horse crap. I think that, if you just see us on TV, you're gonna think something different. You look at America, if you never met an American, you just see what's on TV and on the radio, and you think, oh, they just sag their pants, they thugs, and they don't do nothing. But like I told your dad, a lot of these people who grew up in these neighborhoods where there's no hope, these dudes are starting Fortune 500 companies. These dudes are entrepreneurs. These dudes are college graduates. They have nowhere to go. A lot of these amazing people that die young is because they're in these communities that are, overly flooded with drugs, and this stuff still goes on today, man. And they
It
have no
still
way
goes
out.
on, but it's not what Black culture and Black people are all about, basically.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the same goes for Africa, man. You get the UNICEF ad saying, feed a kid in Africa for $1 a day. I'm like, come on,
Right.
Again, as you said, like that stuff still goes on in America, and similarly for Africa, there is
Yeah.
poverty, but there are beautiful places in Africa
Yeah.
where people live in large, where people live in comfortable,
Right.
And I was telling Johnsy that I think and believe actually the culprit is the one-sided narrative, the fact that you only shine a light on the bad. Then
Right.
that's
Because
literally
if you do that though, if you do shine the light on the bad, if you say like, I love Black people, and then the other narrative is like, oh, you don't love anybody else. That's just not true. If a Black person starts to love his own people, that doesn't mean he don't love everybody else. Or for same thing with any culture. Like I can say that, but I think that a lot of stuff gets put on Black people where it's like, oh, I love my Black queens. Oh, so white queens are dark. You know what I mean? Like they're not
exactly.
important either. And I think that needs to change.
Definitely needs to change. I'm with you. Um, Now with the positive, we have to talk about, the I guess the not so the things that people are uncomfortable to talk about.
Right.
So the question I wanted to ask is, why do you think it's hard for us as Black people just to come together? Like Africans, African Americans, or Black British, like why is it so difficult?
For the longest time, I can only speak for me again.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, for the longest time, we've been taught to hate each other. We've
Mm.
been taught to disrespect one another. You know what I mean? Like, or hey, if you ain't got, the $1 million this or that, then you're not important. So that's why it's like a lot of us look at celebrities like, they're so important, but I think a lot of it is self-hate. We try to, lighten our skin up. We try to do all this stuff, and it's not needed. Like I told you before, Black is beautiful, no matter what shade. Like you don't need to feel
So
right. You don't need to feel unimportant because your skin ain't this. You know what I mean? We've been taught to hate our skin. We've been taught to hate our culture, our heritage. You know what I mean? And I think just these couple, years went by, I think people are starting to change that. And it's like, no, I love my people. No, I love this. I think that a big thing is like we have to flip centuries and years
mm,
of self-hate, and you have to turn it back 1 year at a time. That
mm,
is, man, that's a big thing. And that's why I'm such a big fan of God, and I'm such a big fan of Jesus, because it's like they flip the narrative. It's about love. It's about loving your people. It's about helping others. It's like flip the narrative. So if you're at the store and somebody needs help, don't just sit there and watch them. That
no,
person, that person could have been like the most racist person on the earth, and they can't pay for their groceries, and all of a sudden you go up and pay for their groceries.
you flip the
Oh
nerve,
man, you
change that
just flip.
perspective.
Right. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times it's like, oh, if that person don't like you, don't do nothing. No, kill them with kindness. It's the thing we've been taught as a kid. Kill them with kindness. Don't
So
listen to the negative.
yeah, that's so true, man. And with everything that's going on in the world, I think it's it's important to kind of fight off the bad and try your best to be the light in this world without letting your heart go dark. Because man, there's just so much negative shit. Excuse my language. I need to crop that out. What
It's
if I
okay.
go? Yeah. We like there's so much negative stuff going on in the world that it's just so difficult. I mean, a lot of people end up, cracking under the pressure. You're like, what? This world is messed up anyway. I might as well just join the masses and contribute to this thing up. And that's not the way it should be. So,
Right.
like you said, brother, and I support that wholeheartedly. Like, just kill them with kindness, no matter how difficult it would be.
Because
Just
you never know who's gonna be, you never know who's gonna be your best friend. You never know who's gonna look out for you. You know what I mean? Like you do that one thing for them, next thing you know, like you're in trouble, and this person comes and you don't even remember them. It's just certain things in life that I've learned growing up, and I thank my mom 100% for that. And having relationships with you, like it's just like, man, now you have to watch and you have to, think carefully on how you do things. You know what I mean? You can rise to any occasion. You just got to think you can.
so true, so true. And you what you just said about you never know who's gonna help you, never know who's gonna, you know, just be there in your time of need. Reminds me of again this great guy called. I'm actually gonna tag him in this episode called Coach Todd, right?
Mm.
I met him
Yeah.
at the American camp, and Coach is the most lovable guy you'll ever meet, man. I mean, the director once said this before I even met Coach. Like, if you're a coach, you got a problem. When I met Coach, I was like, I get it, man. That man is so kind. He loves people, man, and he made the biggest change in my life such a short space of time. And
Right.
to this day, bro, to this day, I'm so grateful for him. I text him from time to time, and he's actually volunteering in Nigeria. He's doing some work there in Nigeria, and he's been there for like over a year since I met him.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he's a white American male,
Yeah.
and if you go into a relationship or meeting people with your guard up or thinking that they're racist or assuming things about them, you can
Right.
miss out on such a beautiful connection.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
And that's why I always say, like, all my friends are multicultural. Like, don't judge anybody, Just because
Mhm.
they look a certain way don't mean that they ain't got your back more than the person you met, like, 10 years ago. You could be your high school buddy and they can do more damage to you than a person who you met, you know what I mean, like 5 minutes ago. That person might be pulling for you and pulling for your dreams and goals. So it's like, never judge. Never.
So true, man. I just want to give that man, Coach, this big shout out to you, man. And yeah, bro. I guess, man, we could go on and on, but I guess we're gonna have um an Instagram live just to talk about the episode and drop it and stuff. Like I'll let you know, but like well in time and stuff. But dude, thank you so much for chopping it up with me on this podcast. I mean, if there's anything you want to add, just feel free, bro.
If I could just say one thing, thank you, man. Thank you for I mean, when we first started talking, thank you for, having these conversations with me. Thank you for hitting me up. And to be honest, man, just for all the people out there, you could do anything. It don't matter if you have $0 in your bank account, you're hungry, your fridge is empty. You can grow. You can start from there and you could be blessed. So just keep on moving forward. Never let anybody stop you. God bless y'all, and hope you guys have a good night. And thank you, man, for having me on your show again. I know it's gonna blow up. I'm expecting Kevin Hart to be on here. I'm expecting a whole bunch of stars and celebrities to be on here, man. You're an amazing guy. You have an amazing story. You're a superhero for real, man. So love you,
Man,
man, and pulling for you big
right
time.
back at you, bro. Thank you so much, man. Like this is the episode I'm gonna go back to and just listen to. Like, man, thank you so much, man. That stuff's making me emotional. But EJ, I appreciate you so much, brother, and one of my favorite people, and it's crazy. You
Yeah,
became one of the favorite people in such
yeah.
again short space of time, and I just appreciate you again, brother.
Got you, man. Tell your pops I said hi, and we'll talk soon.
Will do. Anaya, so please tell Anaya say hi and bye, and please say hi to your wife as well, man.
I will do that, man.
That's about it for this episode, for episode number 6. Thank you all for listening, and as I always mention, guys, I'd love for you guys to share this on Instagram. Tell us what you loved about it. Tag the podcast at Superhero Origin Stories on Instagram, and EJ, the voice you just heard, at Eliju Jefferson on Instagram as well. Also, please like and follow us on all our social media and streaming platforms. I'll put the links to that below. And remember, it's through the trials and tribulations that the consciousness of the hero is transformed. That's it for now. Can't wait to talk to you guys in the next one.